2D Mario is back! And so am I! Well, at least we're all happy that our favorite Italian plumber is back in a wonderfully new 2D adventure. Not that he ever went anywhere, he was just on a soup diet. For 16 years, and I'm glad it's over. So enough talk, let's start Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And immediately, right out of the gate, it announces the grand return of 2D Mario. What? When has Nintendo ever presented 2D Mario in such a way? With a title reveal that just shows how much pride they had in this game, that you were going to experience the 2D Mario game, good enough to hang on the fridge. It's so clear that Nintendo put a lot of focus into the presentation this time around. Just look at Mario! Actually, we already looked at him before. Look at Luigi! Look at him running, jumping, climbing, pushing, crouching, ground pounding, slipping, powering up, getting hurt, getting ready to commit murder, going into a pipe! The character models and their animations are wonderful, bringing out the appeal of their designs and shaking up the bland visual style we've been stuck with for years. Even the enemies are filled with so much life and personality with these expressive animations. Now I know the Goomba I'm going to kill is terrified. This visual overhaul was 100% worth every penny Nintendo spent on it. I wouldn't mind if the next 5 years of 2D Mario looked like this game. Again, just look at the pipe animation! It's so good! But let's reel it back in for a sec and talk about the plot. It's a 2D Mario game. Bowser does a bad thing, turns into a castle, threatens the fabric of reality, who cares? But hey, at least Peach isn't kidnapped, and this time we have a new companion, Prince Florian, not that one thankfully. So points for that, you did something different. Now on to the Flower Kingdom itself, which is infinitely more interesting than the Mushroom Kingdom ever was. The first world, Pipe Rock Plateau, puts every other first world to shame. The sheer variety here with grassy plains, savannas, a beautiful forest, underground swamps, cloud tops, and more is incredible. Not to mention the well-hidden secrets. Listen, if you beat the first world in Mario Wonder, then you truly haven't beaten the first world in Mario Wonder. After that, you got Fluff Puff Peaks, where you climb up snowy mountains to the pink cloud tops above that I swear is kinda candy. Then there's Shining Falls with its, waterfalls, and Master Popplin, who is too afraid to throw hands with Mario. Then both Fungi Mines and Magma Bog have you descending downward, discovering ancient ruins and uncovering the remains of dragons that eventually come alive. And I can't believe it. They made a well-themed desert world. Sun-Baked Desert has mirages hiding levels, an oasis, and a desert palace to explore filled with puzzles. I love it. Connecting all of them is the Petal Isles, a whole world itself that eventually allows you, the player, to choose your own path with the last 3 worlds. Finally, Nintendo is putting some respect to Super Mario Land 2. It's about time. So where's Wario? And I love the background details in the levels, like how you can partially see the Mushroom Kingdom at the beginning of Pipe Rock Plateau, and how one level in the Petal Isles has Bowser in the background just floating there, staring at us.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
Overall, the Flower Kingdom is diverse, brimming with secrets to find, and most importantly, feels alive. Probably because it is. Okay, I'll address the talking flower in the room. When I first saw these things, I was concerned. I knew they weren't going to shut up unless I made them, and Nintendo did provide an option to do so, but I did not use it. I apologize to the talking flowers because they are the best parts of the game. They just react to every situation so sincerely, cheering you on, asking questions, making jokes.
I can feel the power!
And there's nothing more fun than plunging them into life or death situations. Did he die? They give this game such a unique identity that cannot be replicated. Though I could do without them wanting to taste me.
Delicious!
What the? That Mario gameplay, am I right? You run, you jump, take some drugs, and... Was this because I jumped? Didn't you know? Every Mario level is capable of turning into a little shop of horrors, and that's thanks to the Wonder Flowers, the special ingredient of the game. They drastically affect the level design by either expanding on the level gimmick, or by completely turning it on its head. From turning into a ball of slime, running on the walls, becoming long, or surviving whatever music-themed gimmick that comes up next, the Wonder Flowers breathe new life into the Mario formula. You can just see the team's creativity absolutely explode, mainly because they had no time limitations when coming up with ideas for the game. Although I was worried that the Wonder Flowers would feel redundant after a while, but the sheer variety and quality of them proved me wrong. It always kept me guessing, what wacky idea they're gonna pull this time? Pop quiz! How many Goombas have you defeated? Simple, how many breads have I eaten in my life? Another brilliant addition are the badges. Paper Mario fans rejoice. They add a whole new layer of choice to each level, as I have to decide which one's the best to use. I mean, I always pick whichever one's more fun, but maybe I want to jump higher, run faster, swim better, get a mushroom at the beginning, have a grapple hook, or go invisible because I hate myself. There are even specific levels devoted to them, which helps break up the pacing of the game. I really want this mechanic, or at least its abilities, to be carried on in the future and implemented more into the level design and Mario's core moveset. Because how has no one in the Mushroom Kingdom taken swimming lessons yet? How? Either way, it's just nice to have an ability in a 2D Mario game you don't just lose by getting hit. The new power-ups are still pretty good though. 3 new ones joined the fray this time around: the Bubble, Drill, and Elephant power-ups. Starting off with the latter, the Elephant power-up is an absolute tank that can break blocks, store water in its trunk, and my favorite thing about it is that it adds horns to the music. Number 1 reason to use it. Next, Mario blows bubbles. Not gonna sell this one short because it can deal with almost any enemy in the game, and you can jump off the bubbles like platforms. It's simple, it's clean, it's great. Lastly, the Drill power-up that looked like a glorified shell head to me actually has a ton of uses since it lets you hide in the dirt and the ceiling, completely avoiding enemies and even leading to secret paths. Really surprised how much they got out of this one. Now the character that uses them, go ahead, take your pick from the largest roster in a 2D Mario game to date. With Daisy and Yoshi here for the first time, Toadette thankfully cannot transform into a Walmart brand version of Peach anymore, and get this, you're not forced to play as Mario. I mostly played as Mario. Yeah, the downside is that every character plays the exact same, so there really isn't a reason to play as other characters unless you really like Yellow Toad. The exceptions are Yoshi and Nabbit, who can't use power-ups and don't take damage, but Yoshi can still flutter jump and be ridden. But that makes them easy mode by default, and that's not the mode I want to be on. It does mean more options for multiplayer, where locally the only thing that's changed is that you no longer collide with other players. And while I do miss throwing my friends off a cliff for no reason, it's an understandable change considering the chaos the Wonder Flowers bring to the whole game. Also, turning into a ghost when you die is infinitely better than Bubbles. Keep that. Online multiplayer, on the other hand, was revealed to be nothing like Mario Maker's. Other players just run around as non-interactable ghosts, and it's no joke, actually amazing. What may seem like conflicting points works in the game's favor. Since each player is experiencing the level at the same time, it allows people to help each other out by giving hints or putting down standees. It all really comes together to create this odd sense of camaraderie. I remember that random Luigi that I helped through a level, God rest his soul. And would you listen to that music? Ooh! We got some great tracks here with the athletic, beach, and snow themes, but the coolest part about them is that there's 4 different versions for each theme. I'm not kidding. Each level has a variant, first depending on if you have the elephant power-up or not, and the second depends on if you're moving. Take a listen. It's a subtle difference of the percussion not playing, but it goes a long way to make the game feel better to play. And of course, I love all the musical moments. Piranha Plants Parade was great, and I hope to see them on Broadway soon. So far, this game keeps surprising me left and right with its ideas and polish, and then it does what I thought was impossible. It made me miss the Koopalings. Boss fights, I argue, were never 2D Mario's strong suit, and in this case, it's the game's weakest aspect. The bosses feel like a complete afterthought, considering it's just one boss repeated 4 times. Well, I'm tired of you too, bucko, and I'm starting to lean towards a more permanent solution. And yes, 4. I did not stutter, because 2 of the worlds don't even have bosses. They just end. And don't even get me started on the conveyor belts, which are literally hold right to win. I can't even call these things fights. It pains me so much because I can see glimpses of potential in some of the Bowser Jr. fights and, you know, the rest of the game that is already bursting with creativity left and right that it leaves the boss fights a lot to be desired. Especially the final boss, which is, Nintendo, are you serious? Okay, let's start a drinking game. You take a shot every time Nintendo has done this, and I'll call the ambulance. All that build-up just for Bowser to be a floating head with 2 hands that you have to time jumps to the rhythm to hit? I mean, it's fine. I just expected more. Like, why weren't the Wonder Flowers, you know, the whole main gimmick of the game, not used to, say, transform Prince Florian into a butterfly or really anything else? Instead, we get this bog standard boss fight to end what has truly been a wonderful experience so far. And that's a shame. Except that isn't the end. This is a 2D Mario game after all, so there's a special world to conquer with a final level that is amazing. Except for the stupid part, I can't see myself. Why is this badge a thing? Who at Nintendo personally wanted to hurt me? Being is completely worth it though. So did Mario Wonder live up to my expectations? Yeah, I'd say for the most part it did. It was everything I could have wanted from a new 2D Mario game. Minus the boss fights. Regardless, the creativity on display makes it a top 3 2D Mario easily. Would have been top 1 if it had Wario. Just put that down for the sequel, Nintendo, and give him the shoulder bash. Or at that point, just make a new Wario Land game, take your pick. Mario Wonder at the end of the day just fills me with so much excitement for the future of 2D Mario, knowing that the series isn't stagnant anymore and is finally moving forward. So thank you all for watching. 2D Mario is back, I'm back, and I'll see you later.